I'm Emily Thompson. I'm the Learning Technologies Librarian. I'm also the liaison to psychology and CPS, should you be taking any of those classes. My phone number is up on the board, extension 3563. I'm on Twitter, at Librarian of Doom, and the library is on Twitter, at Penfield Live. Feel free to tweet questions at me. I'm the one that watches the Twitter. So if you tweet at the library, I'm usually the person who answers. If it's a question about this class, though, I'd appreciate it if you throw a hashtag on it for me, so that I know at least what you're talking about roughly. Are any of you guys first-year students or transfers? So, as people that are into new media, we have a photo contest going on if you'd like to take an entry form. The winner gets $50 in Laker dining dollars, and we're going to put your photo as our cover photo on Facebook. So you get a little bit of exposure there too if you're interested. But definitely, it just has to be a picture of the library to those of you in the other section. If you're a first-year student, transfer student, new student, we're happy. Like I said, we're on Twitter, we're also on Facebook. So what you're really here is to hear about the stuff. So to start with, we have these nice projectors. This is the nicer one. We were doing an experiment in what's the difference in $500? Quite a bit, but they both throw a nice thing up there. These are available for checkout. They check out until the end of the day. So if you check one out at 10:30, you have to bring it back in half an hour. If you check one out at 8:30 in the morning, you have until the library closes that night. Last semester, they weren't allowed to leave the building. This semester, they are. You just have to bring it back before the library closes, so pay attention to your time, because they get kind of pricey if they're late, as fines go. But if you wanted to do movie night in your dorm, or you can't find a study space in the library and need something to collaborate with, you can take it to the campus center, take it to your dorm room, take it to McDonald's, I don't care. I don't want to know that you took it to McDonald's, but nobody's going to follow you. But they leave the building now. As you can see, it's a pretty nice throw. It's got just as many lumens as these projectors, so they work great with the lights on. But they do get hot, so I'm going to turn it up, because it gets hot and it gets noisy.
How many of them?
We have two.
Of the same kind?
No. This one's a Casio. This is the nicer of the two. The other one's an Arius Tech, which is a weird American brand, but I was kind of curious. We were looking specifically for LEDs because we didn't want them to burn out. And this one ran roughly $1,000, and the other one was about $499. So it was kind of a, let's see what the difference is. This one's a little bit easier to use. This one has a nice little kickstand. The other one, you have to use a handy-dandy projector lifting device, also known as a book, to make it go up. This one auto-focuses. The other one, you have to focus using the thing. But they will both put your computer on the wall, and that's the more important thing. They both take VGA, and they both take HDMI. So they do the same thing, but this one's a little bit prettier, a little bit smoother, just a little bit. It's $500 nicer, and we can see why. But they're both great, and they can leave the building now. That's the important thing. We've been collecting a lot of stuff for multimedia specifically. So these are these are the toys. We have two of these. These are the blue snowball microphones. They're not the top of the line, but they're pretty, I would say they're the bottom of the top of the line microphone. And I, of course, picked them in part because they're pretty. These just plug into your computer with a USB. We've got two of them, and they both check out for a week. So you can take them and march them all over creation and do whatever you need to with them. We also have headsets.
How do you use that? Just tell me how you use it.
I use it for podcasting when I use it. But if you had a band and you wanted to record your band, you could bring this microphone in and plug it into a computer and record directly into Audacity, and eventually end up with a CD that way. You do need to fool with the volume a little bit because it leans towards quiet if you don't adjust it on your computer. But you can use it if you need to record a presentation.
So what makes it better than a regular one?
It's much clearer. The one podcast I do a podcast every week if you're interested in library issues. It's called LitTech. And I did one episode with Dan Laird from CTS, and my co-host actually lives in Indiana, so she was over Skype. And so with this microphone, because I didn't check my levels correctly, you ended up with this beautiful, crystal clear radio quality coming from Dan and I at a very NPR volume. And then Addie was kind of screechy because she was over Skype, so it was coming from a different place. So we learned that we need to check the volume to make sure that it's right, but it just sounds like silk. It's got this nice, clear tone. There's a big difference between your webcam's mic and using a real microphone. It's the difference between, I'm trying to think, it's the difference between carob and chocolate. And it's the difference between carob and expensive chocolate for your ears, because you can hear when a professional, it takes your podcast from sounding like with me and Eddie, it's a couple librarians in our living room talking over Skype, to sounding like those guys on How Stuff Works, or Dan Savage, or Luke Burbank, or any of the big podcasters, to sounding how good they sound by just using a higher quality mic. Even using one of our little headsets, these also go out for a week, I believe, will just up the quality by that much, because it helps cut down the noise around you and focus what you're saying into the device that's all it's doing is listening. Whereas your computer is listening and doing a video and got your Facebook in the background. And it's doing a whole bunch of other things, and this one thing is just listening. Speaking of that, we do also have digital audio recorders. Should you want to podcast on the go, you can go and pretend you're a reporter and go, so tell me, what do you think about the election? We've got at least 6 of these. These also check out for a week. They're available on, everything here is either available on the second floor desk or the desk down here. Most of these little things are the second floor desk. So this just gives you a good chance to, because this you have to plug into your computer. This has battery. Before you check it out, always make sure the battery is working, because we put rechargeable batteries in them, and the fact that we have humans working here means they may not have changed them. But in theory, you should have a fresh battery when you leave. So, any questions about these? Yes?
How do they connect to your computer then?
This one is a USB. There's another one that I think maybe it has a USB cord, but we do check out all the bits with them. So if you don't get the bits, then you kind of need to take a look at it and see how it works. It has a little button in the back. But it connects directly to your computer, load it up, and you're good to go. You're asking a good question. This is why you bring the professor along. Speaking of things that you can plug into your computer, we have, I believe we're at 8 now. We've lost a couple. Horrible death for one of them last year. But we've got 8 of these flip cams. You can record 30 minutes of digital video on these. These also check out for a week. Live at the second floor desk. They're great little cameras. And like I said, these also just plug right in. They've got the software that they need, because they do need software on the device. So you plug it in and it'll say, do you want to download this thing? And you say yes. And you get everything up and going. And they work really quite well. So this is kind of the video version of this. They've got pretty good audio. They're great little devices. We're very sad that they don't make them anymore. But we've got 8 of them. Check out. All part of your library experience.
Okay. Do they do HD?
Yes.
Do they accept an external audio source? Can you plug in the microphone?
No.
You're saying they have so-so audio. I was wondering if you could...
They seem to have pretty good audio, but I'm a snob.
Yeah.
Or an audiophile?
I wouldn't say I'm an audiophile, because if you ask me about music, all of my music kind of goes down to the whole, you know that one guy who sang that song that kind of goes da 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 da. I like that one. So not quite an audiophile, but I like high quality sounds, particularly for speaking voices. I'm the biggest NPR nerd you've ever seen for their podcast. But it's pretty good video. But something that you might want to keep in mind if you're going to, especially if you're doing creative things, be aware of the wind, because the wind will ruin things. Because there's nothing worse than listening to that thing that has the while you're trying to listen to what they're saying. And that's really annoying to take out in post-editing. But you might have to do your video and then record the voiceover later. Have you ever seen the clapboard in movies? What that does is it allows them to sync the audio and the video because they don't record it together. And so if you're worried about the audio with something, have whoever your friend is clap. And then you can have, if we don't have any lapel mics, I don't know if you guys have lapel mics, but we have lapel mics that'll record the audio, or this set up next to them recording the audio, and you'll hear the clap and you can see them move their hands, and you can sync it up. Clapboard for free. You have it. But it's pretty good. I've seen better. Keep your eye out. This is one of the good reasons to follow us on Twitter or like us on Facebook, because that's always where we promote our new stuff first. And there is new stuff in the pipeline that I can't tell you about, but it's coming. We just don't have a date yet. But if you were someone who wanted to buy more of these, and they were no longer available because they stopped making them, what would you buy?
I'd touch.
Yeah, those are interesting, aren't they? Keep your eye out on our Facebook page.
Do they really not make those anymore? I got one like a couple of years
The
ago.
flip cams?
Yeah.
Do you guys want to hear the flip cam story? It is the saddest story ever.
Yeah, because I just got one. So.
I know! The flip cams came out 3 years ago,
Right.
and they were insanely popular because they're a delightful little device, and really, you have to be stupid to not get it, because it's like, push the red button to start, push the red button to stop. You get up to 30 minutes of video. You can upload it directly. They're great. And so Cisco bought the company. And Cisco, like they were all gung-ho for about 3 months, and then Cisco went, wait a minute, we don't make cameras, and killed it.
Wow, glad I got mine.
Yeah, they're stopping support though in 2013, so a year from December, you can't ask them for help anymore. Don't ask them for help now. That's how the other one died. Sad, sad day. Anyway, we do have a lot of editing equipment. We have Audacity, the sound editor, on all of the library computers, including the laptops, if you want to work on them. If you come in and you've got all your stuff on an SD card because you've been taking photos or whatever, and you've forgotten the cable, we check these out for 2 hours. And they've got, 4 different ways that you can upload stuff in. So if you've forgotten your cable, it's not a big deal. We have a library computer, and I left the cable at home for a month and a half. Goodness, we have these here, because it's just a plug the card in, and you're good to go. We have webcams in a pinch. These are not the best, but you've seen lots of movies and lots of TV shows, lots of YouTube projects that are shot entirely on webcam, so they're not bad. We also have this, it's kind of a very basic SLR camera. It's not top of the line, but it does do some basic things you can play with. The lenses don't change, but it does do both still photos and video. So I'm not sure if the video is HD though.
What kind of camera is it?
It is a Panasonic. So, and it's nice because now you cannot lose the lens, because if you've lost the lens, you've lost the entire camera. But that's available for checkout. That goes out for a week. If you make a movie and you want to make a DVD, we've got burners for you. And so this is what the library can check out. Are there any other questions?
Is that a tape recorder all the way at the front?
Yeah, we have some amazing things, because you know what never dies? So you never know when you might have an analog thing that you need to get onto the computer. And we do actually have the cables, so that you could plug a cassette tape into the computer. We do have a record player already set up, so if you wanted to get record a record into Audacity directly, so you could get that sound in there. We've got that set up because I've heard rumors that there's at least one professor who keeps insisting upon sending people out with a tape recorder, so we have those. We're not replacing them when they die, but we have like 6 of them, so they're not quite dead yet. So this is the stuff that the library has.